YouTube people, we back again.
We sure are, and we have a video that I feel like we've been wanting to do and we just forgot to do.
Yeah, but I guess it came up in conversation. So
yeah.
We're gonna do it. What is it?
So we are gonna talk about how to get rid of the guilt once you leave Jehovah's Witnesses.
For real, because that's something that a lot of people deal with.
Yeah,
for
it's
years.
a main topic. One of our subscribers recently commented it, and I was like, dang, I don't think we ever did that video. We need to touch on this because it's something, just like you said, you can literally be battling with it for months, years, decades.
For a long time, a lifetime.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to give you some tips and tricks on how to let that go.
Let's dive into it.
Okay, so I think that one of the first things that you kind of have to put in your mind is, what did you leave for? And kind of keep that in the forefront of your mind. And you have to keep reminding yourself of why you left. And people leave for all kinds of different reasons. And, it might be because of the people that were in it. It might be because you learned that the doctrines were not true. It might be because it gave you bad mental health. Regardless of what the reason is, keep that at the forefront. And I think that will help a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And we can kind of cover some of the thoughts that people have, because I'm sure somebody watching this is going to relate. So some people battle with, what if I'm wrong?
Yeah.
What if I'm wrong? And when it comes to things like this in life, something important to always ask yourself is the why.
Yeah.
Why is a very important aspect in all things in life. And it's one of my favorite sayings. I want to say it was Nipsey that said something like, it's not what you do, it's why you do what you do that makes you who you are. So that the most important thing in that statement is the why. Why am I feeling like this?
Yeah.
Well, it all comes down to, I'm guilty because the magic why, they made me feel guilty.
Oh my God.
That is the most important thing in that organization, right?
Yes.
It's from the get-go as a Bible study. When you come to the meeting, you go, but once you go once, they guilt you into coming again.
Yes.
Or when you coming back, or even getting baptized. A lot of people did it through guilt. Or if the end of the world come today, Jehovah only gonna save the ones that's baptized. So you're guilt.
Right. So where is this guilt actually coming from? And I'm happy that you brought that out, because we had somebody else recently who was like, they weren't a Jehovah's Witness, but they just started going with somebody that they were studying with. And she's like, I don't know how I have gotten myself into this position, but I need to get out. Remember that comment? And I just remember thinking it only gets worse. And I think I said that to her too. It only gets worse. And this is an organization that is literally, it thrives off of making you feel guilty and making you feel like you're not good enough and making you feel like you're not doing as much as you should be doing.
Definitely.
And a lot of it comes from people's judgments outside of you. So even touching on that and personal development and figuring out who you are is going to help you to get rid of that guilt. Because once you figure out who you are, you're like, okay, I'm not a bad person. They keep trying to make me feel like I'm that way and that I'm not doing enough and I'm not worthy of this and not worthy of that. But that's not the truth, This is JW reality versus real reality.
It is. And even with that person that commented, shout out to them.
Yeah.
Something they brought up at the end is, I feel bad, or I feel like I owe them something now. And it's what it is, they give you this fake friendship. So now it's like, dang, this person being so nice to me, they being kind, they keep coming over, checking on me. I owe it to them to do what they ask. But where breaks the guilt is, this is not a genuine me coming over to check on you. This is for the own personal gain of this call.
Yeah.
And as long as you are doing things the way I want you to, I'm going to keep coming around. But the moment you don't do what I want you to do, or I don't agree with what you're doing, the friendship, the love, even family, that's over with. We're not even family no more.
Yeah, and that is so sad to even think about. And that's another reason that people will feel guilty too, is because they have family in it. They don't want to make, none of us want to make our parents disappointed in us.
Definitely.
None of us want to make, feel like we're the outsider. None of us want to feel like we're doing the wrong thing, and especially when it comes from a source of people that you love and that you care about.
Yeah, you don't want to let them down.
Yeah, you don't. And that's just how we are as humans, but the truth is, like, they got to live their lives. They got to choose how they were going to live their lives. And when I say they, I mean like whatever family might be passing judgment on you.
Yep.
Everybody gets to have a choice. If you're involved with something that is not making you happy, that is not the truth, that you can't even stand the thought of like being in that organization, and the only thing that might be keeping you there are the people, you have your answer. You know what I mean?
It's that simple.
Yes, there's nothing to feel guilty about.
At all. I even like how you brought out parts of the foundation of finding out who you are. That's what pretty much getting through this whole life thing, everybody wants to fit in for the most part. And what happens a lot of time, like peer pressure you learned about in health class in school, it doesn't matter what everybody else's opinion is, because what they think of you doesn't have to be fact.
Yeah.
That's all it is a thought, which everybody's entitled to a thought or an opinion, but that doesn't mean you have to live up to what somebody else thinks about you, because at the end of the day, you came in this world solo. You live, like, even when you have family and people around you, these thoughts are yours. This is what the conscience that you got to live with, the person that you see in the mirror. Yes. It's not a group of people in the mirror. It's not a group of people in here.
Yeah.
It's not a group of people that got to deal with your everyday life the way that you do.
Yes.
But for some reason, as humans, we feel like we got to please everybody else so they can feel a type of way, even if them being happy makes us unhappy now.
Yeah.
And when you leave this organization, you are battling with, all right, do I make myself happy and make my family unhappy, or do I make them happy and I become miserable?
Yep.
And at some point, you got to pick one. And you already know the consequences of being miserable to make them happy. And that's when you live with the guilt. And it's not a good feeling. So do you want to continue to feel like that, or do you want to feel better? Of course, everything comes with good and the bad. Yeah, sacrifice to it. But at the end of the day, like you said, everybody gets to live their life.
Yeah.
Why don't I deserve to live the life I want? Why don't I deserve to be happy? These are the questions we got to ask ourselves. I deserve to be myself.
Yeah.
I was given this life to live my life. That's why I'm here.
And it's crazy because, like, while you're in it, you do end up kind of losing yourself, and your voice gets like drowned out by other people's voices in your head. Yep. So instead of playing like, what does Lexi think about this? What does sister so-and-so, brother so-and-so, sister so-and-so, brother so-and-so, mom, dad, auntie, uncle, what do all these other people think about this? And your thoughts are now not your own thoughts, really. They end up becoming other people's thoughts that they have like planted into your head. And that's part of the brainwashing. That's why it's called that, because your thoughts are no longer yours alone.
Yeah, your thoughts have been washed out of your brain.
Yes, and you have been rewired and reprogrammed. So you can't even watch a movie without thinking about the organization and what so-and-so is going to think about you. You can't get your nose pierced without thinking about what this person and the other person is going to think about you. You can't dye your hair a different color thinking about, what are they going to say about me on Sunday morning, Like, so all of these things now become you. So when you're leaving, that's why we say you have to deconstruct and reconstruct and deconstruct and reconstruct, because you have to get to the root reason of why you are feeling that way. Definitely.
And something else to add on to that, when it comes to life, we get this fake perception of Jehovah's Witnesses, even as witnesses, that everybody got their sugar honey iced tea together. The main people judging you, all these people are, you look at yourself, because we feel here, and they told us in the organization, we put ourselves, we are humble people. We want to feel here, and we put our brothers and sisters above us. That's not life. No. Like, humility is not, I'm nobody and y'all better than me. Humility is we all getting through this life thing.
Yeah.
In our own journey and at our own time. And so the main people that you are trying to impress got their own, what going on in their own lives. Yeah. So who are they to sit here and judge you? And this is like the driving point as a reminder when you are dealing with this guilt. Are you right or are you wrong? Is that black and white? Is that simple? If you out here doing something wrong against this organization or against your family, that's when you should feel guilty. When you purposely trying to hurt people. But when you find out something is a waste of your life, something is all a lie, it's all a scam.
Yeah.
Remember that. It's a lie, it's a scam, it's a waste of this life that you don't know if you get another one after this or not. Remember that. So, am I wrong for wanting to live my life the way I want to live it, knowing I'm not being in a cult? No, I'm not wrong. So why should I feel bad about it?
Look at all of these people that, like, all these brothers that are in the organization that wanted to grow out a beard and got, not only did they get reprimanded if they grew a beard, but some of them got, like, truly reprimanded. Some of them got disfellowshipped. Some of them lost out on privileges just for the doctrine to change and this rule to change a couple years later. Now they can grow out their beards. Now they can wear pants to the meeting. Now they can do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's obvious that that foundation is not built on, like, true truths. You know, the foundation is messed up, and people were literally getting talked to. Their wives were mad at their husbands for maybe growing a beard and not being able to reach out farther in the organization.
Making them look bad.
Yeah. All of these things happened. And why? Because you have all of these other people's voices in your head. You know, it's there's nothing wrong with having a beard, right? They knew that back then, that there was nothing wrong with having a beard. But because all these people were saying, oh, ministerial servants, elders, look at the missionaries, look at the Bethelites, look at all these people. Do you see any of them with beards? And
it's all made up titles. And even how you brought out how quick everybody grew beards. They grew beards so quick that when they made that announcement on whatever day it was people who hadn't shaved for the meeting coming up either that night or the next day that had just a little bit growing and they just didn't get rid of it. So that shows these people want to do things that go against the rules.
Yeah.
They have the desire to. What's the difference between you? Because all it is, you just doing the stuff that society hasn't approved of yet.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. If half the stuff we out here doing is the so-called worldly people, they just waiting for a say-so.
Yeah. And you know what? With us touching on, like, the whole personal development thing and the why we do what we do that makes us who we are, that is a very important thing to remind yourself about, because that guilt that you have from, like, leaving the organization, it's not necessarily something that's going to go away. Because if you have guilt from that, then you can leave the organization and still end up having guilt about something else, because everybody is going to have an opinion about how you live your life, how you do different things, your relationship, how you wear this, how you do this, how you raise your kids. Like, as humans, we are always going to have an opinion about something. But I saw a post that was like, their opinion is none of my business.
Right.
And that is the truth. Like, other people's opinions are not your business. It doesn't matter what kind of opinion they have on you. What makes you happy? Like, what makes you feel truly fulfilled? What gives you a life purpose? Don't be out here, like, living your life for all of these other people, because just like you said, only you are looking at yourself in the mirror.
That's it.
Yeah, and only you are going to feel the fulfillment of doing something different.
Right. I think it's important, like you said, to focus on the why and ask yourself, what is truly wrong with me being myself?
Yeah.
You have to be comfortable in your own foundation. So, two important things on this life journey. One is, who am I? What is my purpose?
Yes.
Or why am I here? Those are the two more important things when it comes to this whole life thing.
Yeah.
Who am I in the first place? Sometimes when you ask yourself that question, you don't even know right off the bat. It may take years to even find out who you are.
Yeah.
You have to find out who you are, because if you don't know who you are, people can say anything about you and that'll knock you off your foundation, because you don't have a foundation to stand on.
Yeah.
If you say, all right, I'm so-and-so, these are my morals, this is my purpose in life, this is what I love, this is what I stand on, and this is what makes me an individual.
Yeah.
When somebody come up, and because you are living in this world in your mind, this is you. Somebody outside of this spectrum can't come up and say, you this, and that. Especially somebody, a Jehovah's Witness, who's living in La La Land. That's going to bounce right off of your foundation, because it's too solid, along with what's my purpose in life. When you have a true understanding on why you are here, you are on a mission. You so focused on a mission that other people on the sidelines who don't even know why they here. You haven't even done the groundwork to have this conversation with me because you don't even know who you are. You don't even know why you here. And you gonna try to tell me why I'm here? You need to work on your own self.
Yeah. And then it becomes more of a like, okay, if they choose to be a part of my life, then great. If not, that's fine too. And it's also about like building up boundaries for yourself to protect yourself and who you are as a person. So just because, you know, let's get away from like just about being Jehovah's Witnesses, but let's say you have children. Everybody and their mother is going to have an opinion about how you raise your kids.
Yep.
But if you have a reason of why you want to raise your kids a specific way, then that's
your business.
That is your business. They had the chance already to raise their kids. They can give you all of the advice and everything, and you can take it in, you know what I mean? And you can decide, okay, I'll take this piece of advice. Or you can decide if you don't want to take that piece of advice. And sometimes the advice is not advice for where you want your kids to go or where you want your parent and your child relationship to go, you know?
Right.
So it's the same thing whenever you're leaving out of the organization. It takes time to like heal, you know, and have that moment of discovery and finding yourself. And once you do, you get to set those boundaries with anybody and everybody.
Because it's important. Especially once you learn who you are, you also learn your traumas, you learn your triggers, and you learn how to maneuver through life with this stuff. If you know, like for me, for example, people that have bad intentions, I don't want to be around them. Because I know me, if I feel like somebody is trying to cause harm to me, I'm going to react at the highest limit my brain will go. Yeah. And it's not going to end well. So before we get to that point, I'm very antisocial. And somebody else doesn't have to understand because I understand. Oh man, it's just so-and-so. They can come. No, they can't. Or why you don't talk to so-and-so? I don't care who they are.
Yeah.
You don't understand because you are not living in this body or in this world that I'm in as far as my mind. But I understand this because I wake up in it and I walk in it every day.
Yep, and the truth is, you don't have to understand. Like, nobody else has to understand why you move the way that you do.
No.
Because only you have to understand that. Everybody in this world has different limits, different boundaries. Some people can take more, some people cannot, you know what I mean? So you know what your own limits are, you know, and like what your boundaries of like respect and just all of those things are.
Right.
And you know when not to deal with something. Why even take it there if it doesn't have to go there?
Yeah.
You know?
A lot of people butt into other people's, you know, relationships or family dealings, and it's like, well, how come you don't worry about it? That's how you do things.
Yeah.
These things are going to be done like this over here. All right, so you control over there. That was me and Pez's favorite line from a theme song. I'm going to do what I do. You gonna do what you do. And we would quote that all the time whenever somebody's being nosy or trying to tell somebody what to do. I'm gonna do what I do. You do what you do.
Yes.
But for some reason, a lot of humans feel like they have the authority to tell other people what they can and can't do in their own lives.
In their own lives, yeah. And I think that even it's just like a normal thing to do as humans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think men, it ends up being a little less, but like women are we're nosy, like we want to be in the space, like, oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you should do that. But really, it's not your business, you know?
Right.
It's not your business. And when you have that mentality in creating that boundary, I feel like life just goes smoother because then other people on the outside who are involved in your life, they look in and they're like, oh, don't do that with her, or don't do that with him because they are not going to go for that, like, you know, things like that. And you create that space for yourself where your body is your peace, you know.
It's true.
Your mind is your peace.
It is.
It's so funny because we were just talking about that at the XJW meetup, is how you can create your own like heaven or hell, you know. That it's a book, Napoleon Hill, I forget the name of the book. How am I forgetting? It's such a popular book. I'll figure it out. But anyway, he talks about that. Like, I think it was a conversation with the devil or something. Outwitting the devil.
Yeah. That was the one.
Thank you, babe.
Yep.
But it talks about that, like creating your own like heaven and hell, like on this earth.
Yep. As above, so below. Shout out to Draco the Ruler. Long live the ruler. He the one that had said something about that book. Remember when we first seen it and you had ordered it?
Oh yeah, it was a good book. It talks about like drifters and how like most people on this world, like they are drifters, and a drifter is basically what you were saying, like if you don't stand for something, then you'll basically go for anything. So these people, like most people, can be very easily influenced by other people, and they just kind of, they're drifters, you know. Versus if you can create your foundation and you know what you stand on, you know what your morals are, you know your foundation, then people are not going to be able to just like knock you down from side to side.
Yep, that's true. That's very important. And even, you know, even from how you were raised, like you mentioned parenting earlier, sometimes, or 9 times out of 10, when you had parents, you took certain stuff with you and you got rid of certain stuff you wasn't fooling with. Like, I don't like how my mom did that. Or I loved how she did this. And you carry that on to you raising kids, and from so on and so on. Like, my grandparents, super strict. My mom took some of the strictness as far as wanting you to, you know, lead the right life. But also not so strict to push you away to make you just be rebellious. And I got some of the same stuff. Now, our generation is a lot more laid back than before. And there was certain things, like my mom, for instance, she will let stuff slide a lot more than I will. And I guess her being a woman and me being a man is where, because this is something funny. When I was a little kid, my mom had told me, I'm like 3 or 4, and she's like, if somebody hits you, you hit them back, because you know that's what a mother would teach. And so being around my older cousin, he said, blank what your mama talking about. You don't let nobody swing on you first. If you get to that, you swing. And you know, so that's just different perspectives. But you understand, all right, this is coming from a loving mother, but in the real world, growing up like in our neighborhoods and stuff, you not, somebody talking crazy to you is where the line is drawn. It's not where it gets to the physical, you know. But that just shows how everybody handles things different. Perspectives are different. And you have to do what works for you and your path of life, because like that, in my mom's lifetime, that was okay because that worked for her. But in my generation and at that time period, somebody saying some crazy stuff, you just sticks and stones can break them up. That wasn't going. Now more you're gonna get bullied,
because it was a level of like disrespect, and it shows like not only the generation, but like the man versus women, and how it has shaped you to be like the man that you are today. Because you know your mom told you that, but then your cousin told you this, and you lived that way for a while. You know what I mean? And now you're like, I know where I can go, so I'm just gonna like walk away from that. So everything gets shaped differently, and it's just an example of the many things that we have to process as humans and decide how we feel about it. And
see how it works for you. And find a balance.
Find a balance, okay? Finding the root cause of like why you're feeling the way that you're feeling and where the guilt is coming from is huge, you know, because and that's why therapy is so important whenever you do leave, you know, because getting another person's perspective that is outside of this organization can show you like, okay, the things that I am feeling guilty about may be nothing, you know.
Like, especially you going to a professional who studies the human brain.
The human brain and just like society in general. So like if you're feeling guilty about falling in love with somebody that you work with, you know, and you are a single person, but this person is worldly. Your family that is Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't accept them because he's not a Jehovah's Witness or she's not a Jehovah's Witness. Is that actually something to feel guilty about? Why are you feeling guilty? You're feeling guilty because he's not a Jehovah's Witness? And that's it? What else about him is the problem? You know what I mean? Or what else about her is the problem?
And it's the main thing is says who?
Says who?
That's when it comes to wrap up this whole thing with leaving the organization and you feel guilty. Says who? The same people who can't get nothing else right. Like they proven if somebody is supposed to be a leader or supposed, you know, a husband and wife, and the husband is always getting the answers wrong, and it's a lot of times the wife has the right answers, and it's I think this. Oh, don't talk back. Okay, they're down the line. Okay, honey. Actually, I think we were supposed to do this. And that has been happening for the last 50 years of a marriage. At one point, does the wife realize, yo, I've been making all the decisions in my head way years before anything ever clicked with you. And then you go, I think that's it. your leadership should be revoked. So the wife shouldn't have to keep feeling guilty about, man, I got to do what he say because, he in charge, even though he don't never get stuff right. No. So these people says who? The governing body. You don't have to listen to them. You don't have to listen to even like the elders. The elders were like the most feared. Oh, the brothers meet with the elders. Once you realize elders is this, a title. It's a man. When this man leaves the Kingdom Hall, he don't get to tell people what to do at work. Who is he? It's just, I use the analogy of the elders or Jehovah's Witnesses rules is like working at a job, right?
It is.
This job has a uniform. It has, you can't be on your cell phone. Imagine this person working at this job and they get off work and they go, hey man, you ain't got your shirt tucked in. So? Who are you?
You see them at Walmart with their shirt on, okay?
And you at the park. Hey, what you on your phone for? Cause I can? Because I don't belong to this set of rules at that job you work at. It's the same with Jehovah's Witness. I don't go to your Kingdom Hall. I don't have to listen to your rules. That applies to you.
Yes. At the end of the day, they are just humans. We have this thing where like while we're in the organization, we put all these people on a pedestal because of the whole brainwashing of how you should be humble and how you should look at everybody as above you, but it's in all the wrong ways. You're not doing it in the right ways. You're putting all these people on a pedestal when in reality they are just humans. They are just imperfect humans, just like you. They have also made different mistakes. Now what are you going to do with the rest of your life? Are you just going to beat yourself down about whatever mistake you have made? If you made a mistake, because sometimes it's not even about making a mistake.
Right.
They're just, their voice is just playing over in your mind over and over again because you were in that religion for so long and made to think that so many things were wrong whenever really it's not.
Yeah, for real. And then it's like the negative talk. You are just beating yourself down. And a lot of the times, the thing that you're beating yourself up over, it's not a current thing. It's something from back then. Something that happened way years ago, or whenever you so-called got in trouble. That one event is going to haunt you. Oh man, I shouldn't have did that. Like, for my mom, for example, been disfellowshipped my whole life. Feels bad about something that happened. I was born in 1993. So this was prior to 93. I feel bad about what happened in the 90s. Time has went on, so what?
Yeah,
you can't beat yourself down with that negative talk. It's not... Think negative talk. What is the benefits of speaking negative or thinking negative? There is absolutely zero. You are not benefit at all for beating yourself down.
But you do get many problems from beating yourself down. You get low self-esteem, you get anxiety, you get depression, you get all of these negative things that can have a physical effects on your body. So one of the main things is let it go and to give yourself grace, because you forgiving you is going to give you so much more benefits in the grand scheme of things and in your life, you gain knowledge
every day. You are, most people, some people just but most genuine people that want to be better or strive to be better, you are better than what you were yesterday. Kobe Bryant, he had quoted one time, his goal is every night in the mirror to say, I'm better than how I was when I woke up. Because that's the basketball analogy, but put that toward everything. Even if you just look up something on mental health or growth, and you can read one little paragraph, that resonates with me. You better than you was before you read that. That's growth, and you are allowed to grow. So as long as you are comparing this to the past, you've elevated. You're not that person no more. You gained some type of insight, or you have some type of goal that you're trying to get to. Focus on that instead of, I lost 100 pounds, but I want to lose 300 pounds. Oh, you lost 100 pounds. You are made 100-pound difference from where you were when you started. Instead of focusing on, man, I got so long to go, and just live in the present.
Yes, and it is a good thing to look back at how you were and how far you have come. And I think it was at the XGW meetup, Julian was talking about like the self journey and like the documenting, journaling and stuff. That's important. But then Steph brought out how she was making videos when she left of herself, like just going and talking. And That is a really interesting thing to do. So like keeping a track of your emotions and how you're feeling, either through journaling, you can do it through video, however it might be. Even looking back at your manifestations that you wrote down from years ago, and it's like, man, this came true, and man, this came true.
Yep.
It gives you something to track so that you can look back and be like, man, when I first started this, like this is how I was feeling. And you see how your brain was working and like all the negative talk, you see all of that, and then you see the slow transformation of how you are today and how you're giving yourself more grace, and your mindset and like your space is just so much better.
It
you
is.
know? So
it's all
focus
about
on that.
That's true. It's all about what you do with the past.
Yeah.
The past was there. Now you can either dwell on it or you can compare it.
Yeah.
You can try to relive the past and live there. You can go, all right, well, this was then, but this is now. And this is what has changed in between. That's part of the growth. That's part of getting over the guilt.
That is the growth right there. That is the growth. Because you can seriously relive the past over and over again. And that is creating your hell on earth. Because why are you living in that space whenever you are feeling down here?
And you bring it back.
Yeah.
It's putting on dirty clothes. You took these clothes off and you putting them right back on. That's the power of the mind. What you think and what you speak becomes your reality.
Yeah.
And you can use that on both sides for negative or positive. You say, man, it's going to be a good day today. Even if it is looking like a bad day, it's going to be a good day. Even if you don't see it being possible, it's going to be a good day. That's how you create that in your reality.
No, that's such a good point. Because you end up attracting all of those experiences and all those kinds of people. And that goes in any way. So if you are only thinking dark thoughts and negative thoughts, you begin to attract negative experiences and negative people. Like it's just universal law, you know?
Yeah.
Versus if you speak nicely to yourself and speak kindly to yourself, somebody else can come in and be like, oh, you're ugly. And you're like, what?
Well, that's your opinion.
Okay,
Yeah,
but I don't think that of myself.
Yeah, that's what you have to create for yourself.
Yeah, and it creates a repellent. Now you're not going to want to, you're like, well, I don't think I'm ugly, so you stay over there and I'll be in this direction where like you're appreciated.
Yeah.
And do that.
You got to. You start to notice after a while, once you understand like the power of the mind and the law of attraction, you see it in other people. When somebody go, man, bad stuff always happen to me. What's next? People with that attitude, oh, why me? Okay, so how often do you think, why me?
Yeah.
Well, stuff always happen to me. Well, do you ever think, why not me? No, for what? Okay, so you notice you've only given yourself one option. You haven't opened up the door for nothing good to happen because your mind is always in negative.
Yep.
So why would you attract something positive when you always speaking and thinking negative? It doesn't add up.
No, that is so true.
Yep.
So I feel like those were just some of the tips and tricks that, you know, that we wanted to talk about. Practicing like the self-compassion.
Yep.
You deserve good experiences, you know?
Yeah.
So work on yourself to create those good experiences in your life.
You got to, and this is your journey of life. Every individual you pass on the street has their own journey, and nobody has a smooth journey all the way across.
Nope.
And a lot of times you have to experience the bad in order to overcome and grow.
Yeah.
Like a caterpillar. The caterpillar doesn't just wake up one day and go, all right, I'm a butterfly. No, it got to go through some work. It got to be out the way. It got to be like this for a long time in order for that transition.
Yeah.
And the same, we all got stuff that we look back on and be like, man, I overcame that.
Yes.
Man, I wouldn't want to relive that, but I'm thankful it happened because it taught me this. It gave me that.
Yeah.
It gave me insight on so-and-so. I'm able to help somebody else that may have been through this because I already experienced it. And I can tell you, you know, just like us, we're waking up. It wasn't an easy process. It was life-changing. It was hard. It was confusing. We were lost. But through that transition, this somebody might be waking up for the first time watching this, and we've been through it, so we can kind of tell you it wasn't fun, but this is kind of what you're going to experience. This is what it's like. This is what's on the other side of it. This is how you can probably get through it a little quicker because, all right, I got some tips for you.
Yeah.
I may not have had these tips, but now I got them for you.
Yeah.
And so on and so on.
And hopefully it can help. And even just looking back and the things that you can take accountability for, take accountability for those things. Because there's things that have happened in people's past where you look at it all around and you're like, okay, this person did not deserve that. You know what I mean? Like this happened to them and they were like an innocent child or they were just like an innocent person in this situation. And in that situation, it's like, all right, that happened to me, and now I can overcome it. And that's whenever you give like your child self a hug and you're like, hey, like, let's go. We can get through this. We've already gotten through it. Now let's live better and, you know, give yourself grace in that moment. But then there's times where you look back and you're like, I think maybe this experience happened to me because I was at that point in my life where I was more of like a darker thinker, you know, and I attracted this experience. Take accountability for that portion of yourself and then get over it. Like, okay, you've changed since then. You've forgiven yourself since then. And now you get to be a person who has done the work and who has grown since then. There's always like two separate sides to it, you know?
Yes, because I only knew what I knew at that time period of my life. And now I know this. But if I would have known this, I would have directed my life this way. But I didn't know. But now I got it.
Yeah.
Yep,
like,
and I'm past it.
That's so true. Because all the people that like will comment and they feel so guilty about maybe taking their children through being in the organization, and they feel so bad because maybe now they're trapped in the organization. All these things. You can't control it. Now they have the decision to make whatever decision that they want to make. So focus on the things you can control.
For real, because you try to do what you feel like is the decision or the best choice for you.
Yeah.
To your knowledge.
Yeah.
Until you know better. And then, oh shoot, I shouldn't have did that. But you did the best you could or what
with the information you knew.
Yep. And you were on your journey. At that point in time, everything in your life happens for sometimes you know the reason, sometimes you never know why it happened. But for some reason, that was supposed to happen on your journey.
Yep.
And you might have to leave this life in order to get the answer. But for now, you just kind of navigate through it and go, all right, that was part of the road.
Yes. And sometimes making peace with it, maybe you'll never know the answer, you know? Like, you'll never know why this person did this, and making peace with that so that you can move on with your life.
Yeah, that's all it comes down to.
Yeah, that was about it. We just wanted to give some tips and tricks, right?
Yeah, on how to get over the guilt. And everybody moves at a different pace, and you know, we always get the you so brave.
It's not bravery.
It's not bravery, it's coming to a realization that who am I afraid of?
Yeah.
The elders, who were they?
Yeah. And there was a long time where we were just in our own minds, you know, or like between the two of us talking and then being in our own heads about things and having to heal. And then you get to a place where it's like, what is it that you're fearing with talking about it? That's
a good point. Fear. A lot of the things that you fear and you finally face your fear, what do you feel after?
Nothing.
That was it? I was scared of that. And once you kind of tackle fears a few times and you notice the pattern of afterwards, that was it. You start to look at the rest of this journey like that. Like, all right, everything that come across, it might stress you out. It might be tough, but you know, all right, I felt the same way about the last situation and the one before that. I can do this.
Yep. Because eventually you got over it and you were able to move along with your life, and you're still here, you're still living, and you have a life to live every single day. So why make it the worst days on earth, you know, whenever you can make it your best days on earth?
Yeah, the best you can. That's all you can do is the best you can do.
Yep.
The best effort. Yep, but we wanted to drop that on here because that's something I guess that we talk about, but we never really dropped in-depth information on it.
I know, and I feel like we're probably going to end up making this video again and go like deeper, just because we're just kind of doing like surface level, you know, tips and tricks. But there's ways that you can really do this for the rest of your life, and you end up seeing how much better your life gets and how much more at peace you feel whenever you let go of other people's expectations and opinions of you in your life.
Yep, that's the 3 main things we'll end on. 3 things that you worry about that is out of your control. 1, stuff that already happened. It's done. It's over with. You can't go back. It's over. The next is things that haven't happened yet, or things in the future. The future doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is now. Tomorrow, we don't even know if we're here tomorrow or not. It's not here. And the last thing is controlling other people or other people's thoughts. We worry so much about what they're going to think. There's nothing you can do about that.
Nope.
You can
only control you and your thoughts and what is going on in the present moment, how you are going to react in the present moment, how you're going to treat yourself in the present moment.
Yeah.
And if you are the kind of person that can treat other people like so well, but then in your head you're constantly being negative, just ask yourself, why can't I treat myself with the same compassion that I give everybody else? That is literally a question that I personally had to ask myself. Like, why is it that I can treat everybody else so well, but in my head it's like all these negative things? Why?
Yeah, why?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like you took some money losses, you due for a win. For real, you gotta have that attitude, like, I'm due for a win. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to somebody I work with, and he was just worried. Man, I always think of the worst case scenario. Why?
Why not think of the best case scenario?
And it's like, why? You don't deserve to be happy.
Yeah.
You don't deserve to win. Other people winning, why can't you win?
Yeah.
Because you had some rough patches. Who didn't? Those winners had some rough patches too. You know?
Sometimes 1,000 times more rough patches, because that's how you end up succeeding in life. Like, it's through all the failures. You fail over and over and over and over again, and then at some point you're like, okay, this is how you have to do it.
Yep, because it's like it's better to earn that success or earn that happiness than to somebody just give it to you, because you're not going to appreciate it the same.
No, it's not the same.
Yeah, most definitely. But on the side note, we got some more tips in that healing journal in the description below. We'll show it here. That's the healing journal, the Pimo version, and the other one is straight raw and uncut on the cover. Rebuilding from a cult. Yep, it has the cult word on it. So if you're around somebody that might get triggered by that, Jehovah's Witnesses, get the Pimo version.
Okay.
They won't even know what you're reading.
Yes, and please, whenever you guys do get it, let us know what you think. We've been having a lot of fun, like, listening to other people's reviews about it. So.
Yep, and if you're in the Atlanta area, we are dropping a series, Why We Love Jehovah's Witnesses, and each episode will be an interview on a different person. So if you're in the area, hit us up on our Instagram at Awaken Truths IG, and just let us know, and we'll hook up and put something in motion.
Okay, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Peace.